Hi guys, welcome to another Barb Stamps video. In our video today, we're going to use the Winter Woods bundle to create this really gorgeous thank you card for the holidays. And the Winter Woods bundle includes the Winter Woods stamp set and the In the Woods framelits dies. So the stamp set has these gorgeous row of trees, the large pine tree, some aspen tree trunks, and then some little small pieces here, some ground images so you can ground all your trees, and then one sentiment. And then the die set comes with 11 dies, and here's my little cheat sheet. So you can see that the large tree does have a die for it, along with the little sprigs and the pine cones. So you actually get 2 pine cone dies and 3 sprig dies to make your crafting a little easier. It also includes 2 of the naked trees and 1 of this fun little leaf image. And then we've got this tree that actually cuts out, so it's kind of like 3D. It's very cool. And then you also get this swirl, not swirl, but kind of a swoop, if you will, to make hills for the trees to stand on. So that's what we're going to be using today. So I hope you enjoy the video. Give it a thumbs up if you do. So let me get my supplies and we'll get started. All right, I'm here with the supplies to make this card, and we're going to start with a piece of Very Vanilla that's 3 3/4 by 5, a layering piece of crumb cake that is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So that will layer together really nicely with just a slight border. And then I have a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of thick vanilla cardstock. So for my card base, I like to use the thick for card bases. It holds up really nicely. I then have a few scraps. I have a scrap here for this hill shaped die, so we can make like a little hill design. I have a piece of vanilla that will fit the detailed die here, the tree. Fits that. I have a piece of crumb cake that I have already cropped with the larger tree die. And I think that is it. So I do need to go to the Big Shot and crop this out and this out. So I will do that and I'll be right back. I'm also going to take this piece and run it through the Big Shot with the Softly Falling Textured Impressions embossing folder. So I'll go do these 3 things and then I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. So in the folder, I put the piece of paper pretty close to the fold line there because I wanted it to be fairly open at the top. And then here is our tree. There we go. And then the hill I had laid on like this. And then I can just get that piece off like that. All right, so I'm going to move some of these out of the way, and I'm going to do a little stamping here. I've got a stamp set called Flourishing Phrases, and I've got the thank you so very much sentiment out of that. I'm going to ink that up in Versamark, and then I'm going to emboss it with gold embossing powder. Bring in my little embossing buddy here and just kind of tap, tap, tap where I'm going to put that embossing powder. A little bit of anti-static there so I don't get any stray flecks of embossing powder. About right here is where I want it to be. Stamp that. We're going to bring in our gold powder here, and this is just an old tray that I've had for, gosh, I don't even know, 10, 12 years. Stampin' Up! Used to sell them. We don't anymore, so any sort of tray that you have at home will work just fine. And then I do like to give it a little bit of a flick with my fingernail to clean off any excess powder. The tray has a little funnel, so we can just funnel that powder back into the tray. And then I'm going to take this over to my heat tool. Well, actually, maybe I'll just bring my heat tool over here. All right, so I'm going to speed up the video so you don't have to, it's pretty loud and it might take a minute or two, so here we go. Okay, there it is. So now we can set this aside while we do a little more work with everything here. So I'm going to stamp a tree. That's the large tree here, and I'm going to ink it up in crumb cake. But I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus because I'm actually doing this card as a swap, so I needed multiples of it. So what I did was I had this piece of cardstock. I put my tree on my clear plate of my Stamparatus. I inked it up. I stamped it. I took this piece of cardstock over to the Big Shot. I die cut it, and then I brought it back and stuck it back in here. So that all I had to do then was cut out a number of these, what I call blanks, and then I can just slide the blank into the negative space here. I like to have something under my Stamparatus plate when I'm inking up, and then all I do is ink this up with my crumb cake, and then I'll just bring it over here, press it down, and then I have a perfectly stamped and die cut piece every single time. It's amazing. So this is a great thing to do with your Stamparatus. We now sell extra plates, so you could have multiple die cut negatives that you could use, you know, over and over and over if you were making lots of different cards, especially for Christmas cards, the holiday season. This is a great tool to have. Okay, get some of these things out of the way. All right, so now I'm going to bring in this piece here. And I've also got some of my Vegas Gold shimmer paint, and I'm going to shake that up, open it up, and I've got some paint in the lid. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a stylus tool. This one came off of my Simply Scored tool. And I'm just going to dip my stylus tool into the lid. I'm going to pick up a little bit of ink. And then I'm just going to like add some tiny dots of snow with my stylus tool, just kind of randomly anywhere. And I'm doing it like 3 times. That's about as many times as you get a decent amount of ink. Okay, so I just wanted a little bit just to have a little bit of fun on the card there. And then I'm also going to bring in my tree, and I'm going to add some to the tree. Again, you're just kind of randomly doing it wherever you think you might like a little bit of gold shine on your tree. And just work your way up to the top. You can have as few or as many as you want. And if you want, you can actually go over one to make it a little larger if it's not quite to your liking. Okay, so you're just going to let that dry, which it won't take but just a few minutes. And so while we're doing that, and then to clean this off, I'm just going to rub it on a piece of scratch paper, and it'll come off. There you go. It's pretty clean. I might just take in my finger and wipe off the rest. So easy peasy to clean that up. All right, so now we can start a little bit of the assembly process here. Okay, so this piece is going to layer onto this. So I'm just going to add some liquid glue. Actually, I'll put the liquid glue here. Since my little snowflake layer is embossed, I always like to use liquid glue when I adhere stuff together because I just find that the liquid glue holds embossed cardstock a little bit better. So line that up so it's even. Okay. Press that into place. We're going to layer this on top of that. I think we're going to use dimensionals. Where's my dimensionals? So we'll just go ahead and add probably 5 dimensionals to this piece here. Press your fingernail into those to release the backings. Okay, and then we're just going to pick this piece up here and try to center that. Okay, this piece here is going to go right down here at the bottom, and I'm also going to use dimensionals on that. So get a couple on here. Again, pressing my fingernail into it and release the backing pieces. And then right down here at the bottom of the embossed layer is where we're going to place that. All right. And then this tree, we're just going to kind of tuck under there a little bit. So then this piece here, you can just take these and kind of bend them up a little bit, just for some more dimension on the card, which is always fun. Okay, and then that is going to be right about here. So this piece is actually a little long. I'm just going to cut some of that off because it's tucked behind our hill, so it's not going to make any difference. A little more, I think, on this side. I won't cut that off. And this one I'm just going to glue flat to the card. Oops, come back here, glue. All right. Get that under like that. I think that's where I want it, and then this is just going to kind of go right next to it. So I'm going to use some mini dimensionals on this piece here, and I'm just going to pick those up with my piercing tool because my nails just are not long enough for that to work very well. I'm kind of strategically placing these so that they don't prevent my little pieces from still opening. Like that, and maybe one down here in the corner. Okay, so pressure nail into those, peel those backings off. Okay, and then we're just gonna place this about like that. Okay, and then we're almost done. I've got some of our gold metallic edged ribbon. I've got an excess piece here, and I'm just going to bring that through the inside of the card to the front, and then I'm just going to tie this in a knot up here at the top of the card. Manipulate that a little bit so it's nice and tight on there, and then we'll just snip off the ends. Oh, that one's probably already done. Okay, and then there we have it. We have a gorgeous thank you card for some Christmas gifts or just any time, but this time of year is perfect for something like this. So give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. I appreciate that so much. Subscribe to my channel right down here, and then click that notification bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Get all your supplies at shoppingwithbarb.com. Always offer free gifts with purchase. And as I always tell you, I hope you have a wonderful day.